तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे वक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि तन्नो दन्तिः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ जयन्ती मङ्गलकाली भद्रकाली कपालिनी दुर्गा क्षमा शिवदात्री स्वाहा स्वदा नमोस्तुते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Sairam Lin, Sairam from Malaysia.
Sairam Sharma, Sairam from New Zealand. Thank you, Swami, for allowing Sharma and I to tell another miraculous story of your glory. We welcome our listeners, as always, wherever you may be, whatever country you are in. Always remember that Swami said, all the countries of the world are rooms in my universal heart. So this is where you really live. You live in his heart, and you really belong to no country. So we will continue with one of Mata Betty's wonderful revelations of the power and mystery that Swami brought into her life. Back in the 70s, she and her beloved husband, Jim, were traveling all over New Zealand, spreading stories of Swami's reality, how to get to him, how to go see him, and just having little meetings wherever they were invited. And they were invited to lots of tiny little country towns. And they lived in the area we call the Bay of Plenty, but they would travel as far as 600, 800 miles sometimes. And back in the 70s, we had in New Zealand what we call petrol rationing, or gas rationing. And all the gas stations closed from Friday at 5 p.m. until 8 a.m. on Monday mornings. And one such weekend, Mata and her husband Jim had to travel 600 miles. And they had saved gas and kept the tank full, as well as they had 2 gallons in the trunk of the car, in the boot, as we call it, the back storage area. And they thought this would be enough to get them to their destination. And they set off, only to unexpectedly run out of gas in the pitch dark of the countryside near a very tiny country town. And in those days, everything was closed on the weekends, so there was no chance of getting gas anywhere in the country. And they were worried because they didn't know exactly where they were. They got lost. And knowing how impossible it would be to get gas anyway, they decided to pray together. And she said it was a pitch dark night that night, no moon, no stars, and together they prayed. Beloved Sathya Sai Baba, walking this earth, hear our prayer. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer. We need help. We need your help, Swami. Sai, help us. And this is how I always remember Ma. When she needed something from Swami, she would shout, Sai, like this. She didn't care who heard her. And then Ma said, a brilliant light, the size and shape of a basketball, immediately appeared outside the passenger window. And her husband, Jim, said, what will I do? And Ma was in shock. And she said, I don't know. And then Jim said, I'll turn on the key and let's see what happens. So he turned on the ignition key and the car started and the engine leapt into life and the light began moving from the side of the car and sat on the front of the car in front of them, this light, the size and shape of a basketball. She said, we drove for 200 miles in fear and in reverence. And then 200 yards before our destination, the light ascended suddenly, vertically, with a whooshing sound, leaving a trail of little stars. And Ma said, oh my goodness, Swami is present everywhere. And she remembered Swami telling them, call me by any name, picture me in any form, for all names and all forms are mine. I am in all places at all times. Another story about gas in the tank happened with my husband and I were driving in the taxi towards Puttaparthi. And the driver said, "Problem is coming, madam." And we thought, what? What is coming? And the more we drove, he kept saying, "Problem is coming, problem is coming." And then the fan belt broke. And somehow or another, the car just happened to be on the side of the road where there was a mechanical garage, and the car coasted into this petrol station, gas station, mechanic shop. And out of nowhere, a whole group of men appeared and gathered around the car. They lifted the hood, and the fan belt was literally shredded like ribbons. And the car was also out of gas as well. And we were in a very remote part of Andhra Pradesh. I mean, those of you who have taken the car to the ashram will recall, and even in those days, the road was very narrow. It's not, the nice big highway that it is today. And there were only these very remote villages, very few and far between. But at that very moment that the fan belt broke, we slid into this gas station, petrol station, and a mechanic appeared from nowhere. He found a new fan belt and fitted it in. We were not charged for anything. I don't even recall whether we had a Swami sticker or anything like that on the window, but everyone was so warm and welcoming. Someone even offered us some snacks, cups of tea, and so on. And we carried on and managed to reach the ashram just in time for afternoon darshan. So there are two experiences of Swami filling up the gas tank, repairing the car, and I would encourage everyone, when you are driving in the car, always be saying Om Sai Ram, chant Gayatri mantra. Keep a picture of Swami in your car, vehicle at all times. It will protect you. And if you ever do run out of gas, and you don't have any vibhuti to rub on the bonnet, you can call out to Swami. Do it like Ma did. Sai, 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 and tell your problem. And let us pray that everyone has always got plenty of gas in your tank. Om Shri Sai Ram.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Om Tasmat Karunya Bhavena Raksha Saishvara. Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Saishvara Arpanamastu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.